There are lots of great satire movies out there, and a satire movie is when you use humor, irony, or exaggeration to expose or ridicule people or ideas. And this has been done a lot in comedy. There was Triangle of Sadness, which kind of explored class differences on a ship. It was very over the top. There's movies like The Menu, which kind of take those rich restaurant critics and made a whole horror film out of that. American Psycho is a satire of business people in New York City. There's The Lobster, which is all about romance. There's lots of other great examples of this, like Sorry to Bother You, or This is Spinal Tap, which deals with the music industry. But there's a new film, The Substance, which is just amazing and does satire in a way I haven't really seen done this way before. Spoilers to follow. The Substance is an amazing 2024 body horror satire film which follows Elizabeth Sparkle, played by Demi Moore, an Oscar-winning actress who now hosts an aerobics show, who's fired from the program on her 50th birthday, and feeling old and outdated, decides to try a mysterious black market drug called The Substance, which will make her more youthful. After trying the drug, she finds herself in the body of the gorgeous Sue, played by Margaret Qualley, which at first is a dream come true, but soon after Elizabeth finds this body-switching drug results in less of a positive experience and more of a nightmare. There are rules for using this drug, where the person who takes it has to switch back to their original body every 7 days so the process can reset. And that's where things get messy, and the film does go off the rails in a very good way. This movie is from Mubi and Coraline Farragut, who brought us Revenge back in 2017, which was an incredibly stylish, albeit simple, revenge film. And The Substance, despite running for 140 minutes long, and is full of delicious subtext about celebrity, Hollywood, and the beauty standards that most people face, is a very, very simple movie that does a great job of subverting expectations. The Substance is being billed as a horror movie, but really it is satire. It's a satire about the film industry. It's a satire about obsession with celebrity. It's a satire on body imagery and plastic surgery and the desire to be famous, and really doesn't even have to say it. The Substance features dialogue that's very on the nose. Characters don't speak about plot points unless they directly affect the plot. There's no part in this movie where characters have a quiet back and forth about some small moment in their past and they're now reflecting on it now. There's no big monologues or speeches. There's no real dialogue exchange unless it's quick and serves the plot. And usually I would think that's bad. Usually it would feel a bit forced, and like the movie is just trying to get you to go along with the plot quickly and feeding you all the information you need. But that's not the case with The Substance. This movie is purposely designed to make you uncomfortable. The world this movie takes place in is not unlike the real world, but it's heightened and made more surreal with bright, colorful design that's contrasted with its nasty David Cronenberg-esque body horror imagery. Dennis Quaid plays this Hollywood producer who acts like the most unrealistic character you'll ever see on screen. But it works because he's supposed to be this insanely over-the-top Hollywood producer. He laughs and shouts and skips down the hall and wears these gaudy, bright orange and red suits. He even spins around in his chair in one scene to reveal himself, being flanked by like 5 producers, and it's visually a lot of fun to look at, even if it doesn't feel like something that would happen in real life. He feels more like Will Ferrell's Mattel CEO character in the Barbie movie than he does a real-life producer, but that's why it works. It works because The Substance wouldn't work if it felt like it took place in our reality. It feels close enough, but it's just lifted slightly into this fantasy world enough for it to be entertaining and also serve as commentary. The movie's fun to watch because it plays almost like a fairy tale. This is stuff that could happen in real life, but the way it's presented adds this cinematic touch that blurs reality and fantasy. The over-the-top, corny producer serving as a villain, the dramatic way the main actress is fired, and the entire look of the film gives it this surreal quality. When Elizabeth Sparkle is fired because she's too old, she drives home and gets into a car wreck, seeing her image on a billboard being taken down. When she gets to the hospital, she's examined by a doctor who tells her his wife is a huge fan before she breaks down. This could just be played for drama, but it's played for laughs. The doctor awkwardly makes some excuse to leave before heading out, and it just feels a bit off, but this is done on purpose. Many of the interactions in this movie feel slightly surreal, but like they're just close to what you might expect in real life, but it's heightened. And also, even the design of the hospital in that scene, I was thinking, this is not a real hospital. They just picked some really weird building in LA that had this surreal, strange design to film it in. And I love that. I love all the creative choices where this movie just feels slightly unhinged and not in our reality. Nothing in this movie feels particularly real from the way it's presented. A waitress smiles down to Elizabeth Sparkle as she's ordering in a restaurant in this psychotic smile-like form, like from the horror movie Smile. And it's just, again, commenting on how people feel they have to smile all the time to please you, if that's what they're trying to say. Everything in this movie has some kind of meta-commentary. It's this fake, very obvious smile that, yeah, some people might think it's a bit obviously fake, but that's the point. The whole movie goes over the top, and it's the right move. I also love the commentary here about how TV shows will attempt to make people watch their shows by bringing in these young and beautiful new celebrities. People want to smile. People want to be happy, says the slimy producer played by Dennis Quaid. There's also some great harsh angles, these close-ups of Dennis Quaid right when you meet him that make him look like this gross, sleazy producer, which is a great creative choice. When we first see him, the first scene, he's going to take a piss, he just walks to a urinal, and there's this extreme close-up of his face while he's peeing, and he's talking about how he wants to fire this main actress because she's too old, all while he's joking and laughing on the phone with the other producer. It's almost like a South Park episode, the level at which it pokes fun at the higher brass and Hollywood itself, while retaining this very obvious mocking tone, and it has a point to it. Some people might say the movie has this very basic design, or it doesn't give a lot of detail or backstory to its characters, but that's kind of the point. We know Elizabeth Sparkle is this legendary actress, but has now kind of faded into obscurity. It's made clear right away with a great opening shot showing the evolution of her Hollywood Walk of Fame star, which starts being built carefully, designed, preserved, and then over time withers away until people forget who she is. It's a great opening scene where we see this montage of her star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and then just how over the years it kind of fades away. Then when Sue, played by Margaret Qualley, comes onto the scene, she doesn't even need an introduction. She simply goes to audition for a new program that Elizabeth has been fired from, and within saying two words actually, I'm Sue, she's already got the job, and the movie cuts to a montage showing her success. And there might be an argument that the movie doesn't really show this evolution or how Sue gets to this fame, but really it doesn't matter. We don't need to see that. We get all the entertaining stuff we want, and the movie is very careful at foregoing things that might be boring or slow at building the plot. Right away, Sue has this instant fame and celebrity, and she's the biggest person in Hollywood, but it works because we've seen the film from Elizabeth's perspective the whole time, and she is Sue. Sue is the better version of Elizabeth, so it makes sense that she would be able to bring her charm and fame and success into Sue, which is why it's not too unbelievable when we first meet her that she's already skyrocketed to fame and has this huge presence in the movie. And the film handles its other qualities very well, such as its depiction of entertainment and the Hollywood system. It's very purposefully basic and to its benefit. For example, they don't give a lot of depth to what the movies Elizabeth Sparkle is known for even are. We know she hosts this exercise program called Sparkle Your Life, so then when Sue gets her chance to do an exercise program, we don't even have a scene where they are discussing what her show will be about. The scene after her introduction simply brings us right to her TV show, which has been named Pump It Up with Sue. The movie doesn't give a ton of explanation, but it doesn't need to. It exists in a heightened, surreal reality, and therefore it doesn't need to give a typical explanation. I mean, the show Sue is interviewed on, which is supposed to exactly be like The Tonight Show, is just called The Show. When Sue is told she will host a New Year's Eve show, she's simply told she'll be hosting The New Year's Show, not Dick Clark's Rockin' New Year's Eve with Ryan Seacrest. No, it's just The New Year's Show. And it's a great way for the audience to fill in the blanks, to dream up their own conceptions of Hollywood, or what part of Hollywood this takes place in. The creative team here creates this great world that feels so much like Hollywood, but so much more of a dream in a way. And it's a great choice that allows this movie to have more freedom and less restraint while still making that commentary. There's other examples of unrealistic moments here that might feel like a variation of something you'd see or hear about in real life. It's just dialed up. Like the fact that Sue builds an entire other room in her house to hide Elizabeth's body while she's in her Sue persona. It makes no sense that Sue would have the time or knowledge to completely tear up a wall and build an entire secret room in her bathroom in less than a week, or the fact that she wouldn't hire contractors to do it. But for the message of the movie, it makes sense. Sue wants to hide this old self and never look at her again. And paired with the movie's awesome visual and audio style, it works. This also leads to another moment of fun satire, where a neighbor is barking at her to keep the noise down and appears pretty irate until she opens the door and it's Sue standing there, and suddenly the neighbor isn't angry, but he's head over heels in love and offering to help. Some might think this is something out of a porno, or if anything, it's very cheesy, but it fits the tone of the movie, which progresses from simple body anxiety to full-on body horror, and just has this commentary that people aren't going to be mad at Sue because she's hot. She can get away with things because she's attractive. And that's where the movie's confidence comes in. This is supposed to just be a body horror, but it's so much more than that. It uses its shell to tell a great story about the movie industry and beauty standards, all while delivering some of the most original imagery and sound design of the year. There's so much great stuff here, from the actors, the direction, and the score, and the visuals and the sound do a lot of the heavy lifting. It's a fun movie to watch at the end of the day because of its style, which balances a lot of heavy electronic synth with bright neon colors, coupled with the dark, ironic tone changes, lots of black comedy. Some of the best parts of this film are how its darkest or most gross scenes contain black comedy. Like at the end of the movie, Sue and Elizabeth have kind of formed into this one horrible monster, which kind of looks like the Toxic Avenger, all because they couldn't find the right balance and couldn't split the 7 days appropriately. There's great moments here that are so over the top and work and are kind of funny, Like where the monster is trying to put on an earring and there's this pensive, sweet, delicate music. And it's funny, my whole audience laughed at that. It's satirical of how this woman has gone so far and now looks like a monster, but in her head she's still very beautiful because that's been her goal the whole time. She was beautiful. She lost some parts of herself when she was switching between the bodies. First her finger gets wrinkly, then her foot gets wrinkly, then her face, and then she becomes this monster. And she's had all these opportunities to stop, but she doesn't because she's obsessed with being young. And then at the end, when she's this monster, she just has to face it and live with it. And that's where this like over-the-top black comedy comes in. It's a movie with a very deep message, but it manages to be entertaining the whole time it's telling it. A movie like this is very hard to pull off, and yet The Substance does it. It provides entertaining visuals, great characters, and a thrilling build-up with awesome sound design and direction, and a payoff at the end that is completely worth it and lives up to what a body horror film should be. Completely with excellent practical effects, tons of blood and gore. And I'm not saying you even need to have so much blood and gore to make your body horror film work, but it probably will help if that's the genre you want to dabble in. A movie like this has lots of sneak peeks of nasty imagery throughout, but then it fully commits at the end and results in the perfect symmetry of a movie, complete with a perfect opening and closing shot that all line up perfectly with each other. Overall, The Substance might not be for everyone, that's a fact. It doesn't mean the filmmakers did a poor job or that it's a movie everyone's going to enjoy. It might not be. Some people might not enjoy this type of movie. However, if you do want to see body horror mixed perfectly with satire, this is a perfect film for you. It's a great example of how to tell your satirical story while still being entertaining. So I hope you guys learned something. There's a lot of ways to make a great satire film. You just need to make sure you know who your audience is and what type of story you want to tell. Whether it's a horror or comedy or even a romance or adventure, there's unlimited ways to make great satire. You just have to commit and go all in. And if you do that, you'll have a movie people will remember for a long time. The Substance is great because it has this heightened reality that feels kind of like our world, but kind of not. And if you're able to find a balance like that, you're gonna make a great, memorable movie. People want to see original ideas. The Substance was very original, at least to me. So let me know what you guys think. I really enjoyed this movie. It was a lot of fun and just a great time. I saw this movie twice now. So hope you guys enjoy it. Go see The Substance. Thank you guys so much for watching.